should never tell a woman that you need space. Why? Because the moment you say that, what you're really communicating is weakness, fear, and a lack of certainty. Think about it. If you're a man who's strong, grounded, and living with purpose, you don't need to explain why you're pulling back. You simply focus on your mission, you handle your business, and she feels that, she senses it. But when you actually say, I need space, it tells her you can't handle the pressure. It tells her you're overwhelmed. It tells her you don't know how to lead. And what happens? She starts to lose attraction. Because feminine energy wants to feel your strength, your certainty, your ability to handle life without falling apart. Instead of saying you need space, just take it. If you need time to yourself, go to the gym, work on your goals, hang with your friends. Focus on becoming a better man. When you tell a woman, I need space, what you're really doing is handing her your power on a silver platter. Think about the message behind those words. You're basically saying, I don't know how to handle what's happening between us. I'm overwhelmed. I'm confused. I don't feel strong enough to deal with the relationship right now. And the second those words leave your lips, she feels it. She feels the uncertainty. She feels the weakness. Because women are tuned into emotions, to vibes, to energy. And when she hears, I need space, it tells her you're not grounded, you're not centered, and you're not the rock she thought you were. What she really wants to feel from you is strength, certainty, calmness. She wants to know that no matter what life throws at you, you can handle it like a man. But when you announce that you need space, it's like waving a flag that says, I can't handle you. I can't handle this relationship. I can't handle myself. And attraction evaporates in that moment. Now let me break it down even further. A woman doesn't lose interest when you're busy with your mission, your goals, or your purpose. She doesn't lose attraction when you're unavailable because you're leveling up your life, chasing your dreams, or handling business. In fact, that actually makes her more attracted to you. What kills attraction is when you frame that natural need for time apart as a problem. When you say, I need space, what she hears is, you're too much for me. I can't handle your love. I can't handle your emotions. I can't handle being close to you. And women don't want to feel like they're too much. That hits deep for them. It makes them feel rejected, unwanted, not good enough. So instead of her leaning back and thinking, wow, this man is focused on his life and I admire that, she starts pulling away. She starts questioning whether you're the strong, masculine presence she can trust. Because when you verbalize weakness, when you frame your time apart as a problem, it undermines everything that creates attraction in the first place. The irony is that every man is going to want space at some point. That's natural. That's healthy. Men are built to hunt, to build, to conquer. We're wired to want time alone, to focus, to recharge, to pursue what drives us. But the way you communicate that need makes all the difference. A high-value man doesn't sit his woman down and say, honey, I need space. He simply lives his life. He goes to the gym. He works late because he's grinding on his business. He spends a weekend with his buddies. He takes the time he needs without turning it into a big dramatic conversation. And she feels safe in that because she knows his absence isn't about her being too much. It's about him being on his path. Contrast that with the guy who sits her down and announces it. He's basically seeking permission. He's looking for validation. He's trying to manage her reaction because he's afraid she'll be upset. And women can smell that fear. They can feel the weakness. And the more you look to her to manage your emotions, the less she trusts you to lead. At the core of this dynamic is masculinity itself. Masculinity is about certainty. It's about direction. It's about being unshakable. When a man is certain, when he's focused, when he knows who he is and where he's going, a woman feels it. She can relax into her feminine because she knows he's solid. But when a man says, I need space, he's admitting that he doesn't know what to do. He's admitting that he's not certain, that he's not stable, that he's not strong enough to handle the relationship as it is. And here's the kicker. When you tell a woman you need space, what you're really trying to do is get her to give you permission to be masculine again. You're saying, please let me step back so I can feel strong. But the second you ask for that, you're already weak in her eyes. A man doesn't ask. A man doesn't negotiate for space. A man simply lives in a way that naturally creates it. That's what keeps her attracted. That's what keeps her respecting you. That's what keeps her coming back for more. A man who is truly grounded never has to ask for space because his life already creates it naturally. When you're focused on your mission, when you're dialed in on your purpose, your goals, and your vision for the future, you're not sitting around worrying about whether your woman is texting you every 5 minutes. You're not stressing about whether she's upset that you didn't call her back right away. You're not overthinking every little thing in the relationship. Why? Because your time and your energy are already being invested into something bigger than the relationship itself. That doesn't mean you ignore her. That doesn't mean you don't value her. But it means you've got a life that she gets to be a part of, not the other way around. Women are drawn to that energy. They're attracted to a man who's going places, who's got a clear path, who knows who he is and what he wants. And because you're naturally pursuing your purpose, space isn't something you need to request. It's something that happens automatically because you're living your life with intention. This is the exact opposite of what happens when a man makes his woman the center of his universe. When you put her on a pedestal, when you revolve your entire life around her, when every decision you make is about trying to please her, you kill the mystery. You kill the challenge. You kill the polarity. She starts to feel smothered. She starts to feel like you're too available, too predictable, too easy. That's when she backs away, not because she doesn't like you, but because she doesn't feel your masculine edge anymore. The irony is, the men who obsess over their woman the most are usually the same ones who eventually say, I need space. Because deep down, they've drained themselves, they've abandoned their own purpose, they've given up everything that made them attractive in the first place. So instead of creating space the healthy way, through ambition and independence, they try to create it through words and explanations. And that always backfires. A grounded man never lets himself fall into that trap because he knows his mission has to come first. Living with purpose isn't just about career or money. It's about identity. It's about knowing what drives you as a man and committing to it fully. Maybe your purpose is building a business. Maybe it's training your body to be in peak condition. Maybe it's traveling the world and expanding your horizons. Whatever it is, when you're living it, you radiate strength and certainty. That's what a woman falls in love with. Lips. She doesn't fall in love with you because you send good morning texts every single day or because you're always available whenever she calls. She falls in love with the man who has direction, the man who stands for something, the man who cannot be shaken off his path. And because you're so committed to that path, you naturally won't be glued to her 24/7. You have things to do, goals to chase, battles to fight. That's where the healthy kind of space comes from. Not from a weak announcement, not from a defensive statement like, I need space, but from the lifestyle of a man who's too busy conquering his world to be clingy or needy. And here's the beautiful part. When you live this way, she actually respects you more, she craves your time more. She values every moment you give her because she knows you're not just sitting around waiting on her. You're not trying to fill a void with her attention. You're full already. You're whole already. You've got your own mission, your own vision, your own world. And that makes her want to be part of it. That's what creates the dynamic where she chases you, where she wants more of you, where she's drawn deeper and deeper into your life. But notice, none of this comes from asking for space. None of this comes from weak words or fearful explanations. It comes from living with purpose. It comes from being grounded in who you are, Lips. It comes from being the kind of man who doesn't need to demand space because his life naturally provides it. That's the difference between the man who kills attraction by speaking weakness and the man who builds attraction by living strength. When you actually say the words, I need space, you plant a seed of doubt in her mind. Up until that moment, she might have felt like you were strong, like you were confident, like you were the kind of man she could rely on. But when you verbalize the need for space, you're showing her that you can't handle the closeness. You're showing her that the intimacy is too much for you, and women don't want to feel like they're too much. That triggers deep insecurities. They begin to feel rejected, unwanted, unloved. Instead of interpreting your words as, I just need time to focus on myself, what they actually hear is, you overwhelm me, you're a burden, I can't handle you. And once that thought takes root, it chips away at the attraction she felt for you. Because what she truly wants is a man who can handle her energy, her emotions, her love without flinching. A man who can remain steady and grounded no matter what comes his way. Saying you need space tells her you can't be that man. The biggest problem with verbally asking for space is that it flips the polarity in the relationship. Instead of you being the strong, centered masculine presence, you become the one looking for reassurance. You're basically saying, I don't feel safe in this closeness, so please let me back away. And in that moment, you're asking her to lead. You're asking her to be the strong one. You're asking her to give you permission to step back. That dynamic kills attraction instantly because it forces her into the masculine role and pushes you into the feminine. She doesn't want to mother you. She doesn't want to manage your emotions. She doesn't want to babysit your weaknesses. She wants to feel like she can lean into your strength. She wants to feel like you can hold her no matter how intense her emotions get. And the moment you put her in the position of granting you space, you destroy that dynamic. You communicate that you can't be trusted to stand firm in your own masculine energy. So now let's look at it from her perspective. Imagine how it feels to hear a man you're attracted to, a man you look up to, a man you want to lean on suddenly tell you, I need space. Your mind starts spinning. You wonder, is he losing interest? Did I do something wrong? Am I not enough? Is there someone else? All kinds of insecurities and doubts start flooding in. And when a woman is in that headspace, attraction nosedives. Instead of missing you when you're away, she starts resenting you. Instead of leaning back and admiring your drive, she starts questioning your intentions. Instead of trusting you, she feels betrayed. And this is why so many relationships spiral downhill after a man verbalizes the need for space. It's not the space itself that's the problem. It's the way it's communicated. A high-value man doesn't announce it. He simply lives in a way that naturally creates it, and she feels secure in that because she knows it's not about her being too much. It's about him being on his mission. At the end of the day, attraction thrives on certainty. Women fall in love with men who know who they are, men who don't waver, men who don't break under pressure. The moment you ask for space, you show her that you're uncertain, you're unsure, you're unstable. And that kills the very thing she was drawn to in the first place. It's not that needing time apart is wrong. It's not that you should never recharge, focus on yourself, or spend time alone. Those things are healthy, they're necessary, they're masculine. But the difference lies in whether you communicate that need from a place of strength or a place of weakness. Weakness is announcing it, asking for it, pleading for it, as if you need her permission to step back. Strength is simply living your life, being so focused on your mission that space happens naturally, without drama, without conflict, without fear. And when you embody that strength, she doesn't question you. She respects you, she trusts you, she craves you even more. The reality is this: time apart is not only healthy, it's necessary. But the difference between a man who maintains attraction and a man who destroys it lies in the reason for that time apart. If you're stepping back because you feel insecure, because you're overwhelmed, or because you're afraid of losing yourself in the relationship, that energy bleeds through. She feels it. She knows it's not strength, it's weakness. And that's when she starts to pull back because she doesn't feel safe leaning into you anymore. But when you take time apart because you're pursuing your goals, because you're grinding on your business, because you're in the gym building your body, because you're learning, growing, and leveling up, that feels completely different to her. She doesn't interpret it as rejection. She interprets it as ambition. She interprets it as drive. She interprets it as strength. That's when time apart becomes attractive instead of destructive. This is why purpose has to be at the center of your life as a man. Your goals, your mission, your vision, these are the things that anchor you. They keep you steady, they give you direction, and they prevent you from slipping into the trap of making a woman your entire world. If you don't have those things, you're going to end up clinging to her for validation. And when that clinginess becomes too much, you'll swing in the opposite direction and blurt out, I need space. But that's only happening because you're not rooted in anything outside the relationship. You're looking to her to make you whole. And when that gets heavy, you panic. But when you've built a life around your mission, your time apart is natural. You don't need to ask for it. You don't need to explain it. She sees it for what it is, a man chasing greatness, and women are drawn to that. They can't help it because deep down, feminine energy wants to be led by a man who's going somewhere. Think about how she experiences it. When you're constantly around, waiting for her text, available 24/7, she feels smothered. There's no mystery, no challenge, no room for her to miss you. But when you're dialed in on your goals, when you're not always reachable because you're busy working, training, creating, building, suddenly she's the one thinking about you. She's wondering what you're doing. She's craving your attention, and when you do give her your time, it feels special. It feels valuable. It feels earned. That's how attraction grows. That's how desire stays alive. But notice the difference. One version of space comes from insecurity, from fear, from being overwhelmed. The other comes from strength, from mission, from ambition. And the emotional impact on her couldn't be more opposite. One destroys attraction. The other intensifies it. This is why you should never frame time apart as something you need in the relationship. Needing space sounds like withdrawal, like retreat, like weakness. But living your purpose naturally creates the space you want in a way that actually benefits both of you. She doesn't feel abandoned. She feels inspired. She doesn't feel like you're pushing her away. She feels like you're pulling her into a bigger story, a greater vision. And that's what keeps her invested. That's what keeps her chasing. That's what makes her respect you and admire you instead of questioning you or doubting you. So don't ever let insecurity be the reason you pull back. Let ambition, let growth, let purpose be the reason. That's the difference between a man who loses his woman's respect and a man who earns it deeper and deeper over time.